I'll start with the decibels question. So yes, decibels. If you ever say decibels, you need to quantify which unit of decibels you're using. So decibels, firstly, is a logarithmic unit scale, which means when you engage with the general public, they will not understand it because 1 + 1 does not equal 2, and that's really hard to get people outside technical and university to put their heads together. So when we talk about decibels, we tend to actually mean dBA. So if we're talking about noise, and the way I use noise is the audible noise, it's what humans can hear. So all sound is actually just a pressure. It's a sound pressure wave that goes through. But when we hear it, we hear certain frequencies. And we hear certain frequencies clearer or louder than other frequencies. So dBA is actually human hearing. So the scale is attuned through frequency to human hearing. So we ever talk about noise, and again, it's almost, we've got to take the really complicated science and make it really easy, that when we're trying to explain something quite complicated and actually very, very sensitive to local communities, we've got to try and make the jargon so they get it instantly. So we talk about noise, dBA, because that is weighted to the human hearing. Now, when we're measuring the air over pressure, and the clue is in the name, it's pressure, like, let's talk about pressure. The microphone is set up to measure pressure, and it reports it in dBL, which is linear. So basically, it takes all the weighting away from human hearing. The problem is, as an industry, and we can blame the Americans. I like to always blame the Americans where I can. When they set up when they set it up, they were like, right, because you're dealing with acoustic engineers, the acoustic engineers always work in decibels. And therefore they said, right, we won't have it weighted, so that's a linear scale. But it's still not linear because it just means it's unweighted, it's still logarithmic. So it's like, great, how to get that around that? So linear means that it's recording sounds that we cannot hear as humans. So as soon as we talk and use a unit in decibels, your general community will relate that to audible noise, and there's no way of getting around that. And it's actually a pointless argument to try and say, oh, well, I'm not actually meaning about noise levels. Just don't go there. The easiest thing we can do as an industry is stop using it when we're talking about the air blast, and we just turn it into pascals. As soon as we start talking about pascals, they'll go, oh, I'm pretty well, I remember that. That's to do with, oh, then you say pressure, and it goes, oh, yeah, this is all about pressure. Well, it comes a completely different conversation there. The other thing is the units, when we're actually blasting, are much, much lower. So everything looks much, so it sounds better. It's the same numbers, but we've just taken the technical jargon away. And to touch on the university, I'll come on back to you. You're absolutely right to what you're saying. It's such an important role. And this, to me, is about making that communication. So we can make the communication easier. We can try and bring them along with us. Quite often, we make the mistake, and we've probably all done it, that you go and speak to the community. We know our subject. We're very relaxed about it, and they'll say, right, we're really concerned. And the temptation is we go in and we give them the evidence straight off the bat, because we know what we're doing. And we give them all the answers straight off. And what I've learned is that is actually the wrong thing to do. The first thing to do is listen. And actually, we might have all the answers. And I've been into so many properties, and they're like, oh, it's cracking here, it's cracking there. And I instantly know that's because you built this extension there, foundation, you've got a differential. I know it straight away. Only because I know it doesn't mean I share it straight away. The first thing to do is listen. And now what also really helps is when you go, oh, by the way, this is backed by a university, because they are the unbiased truth source. And that's where industry and university is so, so important, because it makes us look good by going, yeah, we've got the university backing. And I always like to look good. You might have worked that out. So I think you're going to expand on this, I hope, but it is that human connection that we need to do. The simplest way is just call it pressure, please. And then when we talk about noise, it's noise. And it just demystifies the whole problem. Okay.
I think the biggest mistake industry is making, because I've been in those rooms, is when you try to talk numbers. And irrespective of decibels or whatever, don't talk numbers. They don't understand the maths, number one, behind the number. They don't understand it. I always refer to the comics of Tom and Jerry. So when on these it's animations now, eh? Animes. When there's something with noise, with decibels, you see the ear of this comical thing going so big and it's vibrating and you can see he's hearing something that's hurting the ear. But when he's feeling pressure of an explosion, there's wind towards them and all the hair blows back. So it's a feeling and a hearing. And that needs to be done in exactly that, in that examples from Thomas yourself, where the door was slamming. That's what you need to take to communities, not numbers and science and these heavy calculations in the background. That I think that's key. But also communities that's volatile. You can take nothing there at that point. You must then just listen, park everything, and then reconstruct and go back. So don't, when it's volatile, try and even explain anything. And thank you for Moko. They asked me, can't we help to do something to help with this communication? And I went to Eugene and I said, can we not make a generic, independent video for communities that we can play? Then it's not the miner saying or this one saying, it's an independent person explaining it. I think that will help us tremendously. And ASPASA is willing to contribute to that. So please, I think that is the solution for us.